Power Hour. Got the Roaring Girl, of course,
It's
coming
on the air.
from Manhattan.
Woo!
Manhattan, New York City, of course. Well, here up here it's like 19 degrees. It's a little on the nippy side up here in New York, 21.
Let's see
I
how
suspect
what it is.
New York's not quite so bad down that way.
Never know.
It's going to be a cold week here. I guess we're going to be looking at cold temps
Well,
as we get deeper into March.
there's supposedly it's 40 degrees here, but the wind chill makes it feel like 34. There is allegedly a nor'easter coming in, and there's supposed to be snow, but according to the Weather Channel and the models, it's going to miss New York and hit like Boston.
Yeah,
So we're just going to get cold weather, and I'm looking at the weather. The pollen is worse than anything else.
yeah. I'm starting to notice that myself. Having to get out the old nasal spray now and then to,
Yeah. Now I don't know what it's like up your way, but according to the summary for tonight, it's a mix of clouds and sun in the morning, followed by cloudy skies. Few degrees or few showers possible, high 39. And at night it's cloudy and snow, which means that it's going to snow, but it ain't going to stick.
Right.
It's not going to freeze, but it's not even going to be.
Right. Yeah, we get the same kind of thing. It's just, we'll get a half inch of snow and then it's on 2 hours later.
Yeah, that's what it said. 1 to 3 inches of snow expected, but it's going to be 34 degrees. It's not going to freeze. So it's going to be slush.
We're lucky. Yeah.
It's a slush storm.
We're getting closer and closer to springtime type weather. We are in spring, maybe. It's like spring road coming.
Well, there were a lot of anti-Trump.
Maybe not till Sunday. Maybe not till tomorrow.
Yeah. Later today.
But,
there were a lot of anti-Trump protests here today, and some protesters were arrested in front of Trump Tower on Fifth Avenue, and by being told that they were being arrested because they did not have a permit to protest. Donald Trump is now that powerful.
Yeah. Well, in New York City, they're going to use any kind of excuse, especially the permit.
No, you don't need a permit to protest. They were on public sidewalks.
Right.
They were not trespassing within the tower.
Right.
They were arrested because they were, they didn't have a permit. Well, they'll add resisting arrest to that or something. Also, Trump now has his own Praetorian Guard, and they are called the Guardian Lions or some bullshit like that.
Yeah. I love that.
So he's more Mussolini than Hitler.
Yeah, you could see that coming, that he would have his own, guard.
And apparently now he's decided that rioting at the convention isn't good enough. He's talking about Second Amendment solutions if he doesn't get his way. And so what he is doing, he's not actually inciting anything because he's not. He's just saying, he's just putting it out there, and whoever wants to, take him up on it.
Right.
And there was more video evidence of Lewandowski's arm detaching from his body and assaulting somebody else.
Right.
And there's also video of somebody who obviously was a Paul Rand supporter because he's stomping on somebody.
Love it. Yeah. Well,
they're not the violent ones. The only reason they're getting violent is that people are protesting them and are not, and are against them, saying, that's the only reason that there's violence is that if it wasn't for those damn protesters, if they would just shut up and,
go away.
Just shut up and just, let us, we wouldn't have to, if you weren't there, we wouldn't have to hurt you. And he threw a Navy veteran out of this rally in Utah because the Navy veteran is Muslim.
Right.
And he got thrown, and these people who support the troops got him thrown, cheered as he was thrown out of a rally. The Trump supporter.
Yeah.
Well, he wasn't a Trump supporter, but he was Muslim. Yeah. So
right.
It's, and of course it's all the leftist progressives, fault that people are behaving. We're the violent ones. It's sort of like if those damn blacks just wouldn't, make their, let us see their faces, we wouldn't have to lynch them.
Right. Right.
I mean, it's the same thing as under the Islamic law of dimitude, where you are well, after you pay your protection, you are allowed to worship, but you just can't worship loud enough so that the non-Christian or the non-Muslim, so that the non-Muslim can hear you,
Right.
because your prayers offend their ears. Whether you're a Christian or a Jew or Yazidi or whatever, under these old rules, you could worship as long as you were silent,
Exactly.
and
Exactly.
your houses of worship were not, you know, as grand or grander or taller than a mosque. That's why. That's partly the reason why the minarets are so tall. Because you obviously you can't build that tall, but they would that, and that's I'm just talking out of my ass on that one, people. Just so you know, I am talking out of my ass on that. But I'm not talking out of my ass when I say that um, it's a lot like you were here. The people on the extreme right say you are free to worship as long as we don't see any evidence of your religion.
Right.
So coming up, what next week I guess it is a live telecast of the Passion, which in listening to more descriptions of it, this sounds like a new version of Jesus Christ Superstar.
Ah.
And yet right wing Christians are saying they're being oppressed. Their religious beliefs are being oppressed. Getting fucking, you know, I don't see Walmart commercials for Passover
Right. Right.
or Passover leg of lambs. And that's the other thing. Lamb is traditionally supposed to be eaten at Passover. Going that,
Right.
But, and I was talking with a fellow officer in the IDF about this, and my feeling is that a lot of things that we see here in, at least in Ashkenazi Jewry, Eastern European Jewry, has a lot to do with that seen, not heard thing. Like, since Jesus is represented by the lamb, you cannot eat leg of lamb because then you are eating their God.
Ah, there you
And
go.
if you notice at Passover, they don't eat lamb. In fact, as far as I know, lamb could very well be a taboo food for Christians, because Jesus is described as the Lamb of God, and you don't eat anything that represents your deity.
There you go.
When people, um, it's also the same reason why the stronger women of the Bible are no longer are not even are neither seen nor heard, like Deborah and Judith and Yael, and you have a more, and you're being told to be more like the more acquiescent, dutiful women of the Bible, like Ruth, Esther. Because if you're the woman who's able to stand up and go out and protect your people, because the men are too terrified of the army, then you are a threat. Um, and I like pointing this out. This fellow um, is and his girlfriend are very anti. They're very extremely pro-Israel. They're dual loyalists. In fact, they consider them Israelis over and above before they are Americans. And they hate Barack Obama because he's not going in and actually, helping Israel blow up not
Yeah.
essentially
Iran or somebody.
helping
Yeah.
the extreme right wingers like Netanyahu go in and wreak havoc in the Middle East, more havoc in the Middle East. They would love Trump because they know he will bring in the bombers and everything else, and just hopefully defend Israel, whom at the moment doesn't need defending.
Right. Right.
Uh,
Has as much hardware as we do, practically, as far as aircraft and what
but
have you.
he was kind of like, but I pointed out to him that if you read the Song of Deborah, who is a judge, she is told that the people will prevail over their enemies in battle, but she won't be the one to lead them, but she will be the one to choose the leader. And general comes to this man comes to her and talks to her, and she's telling him this, and she says, "You are the one to lead us to victory." His name was Barak.
So there you go.
Which in Hebrew means lightning, because it's the sound lightning makes, or thunder makes.
Okay.
So, and he had to think about that a moment, because he thought Barak was a variation on the name Baruch, or blessing, or blessed. And I said, no, it means thunder.
Right.
Our president has a Hebrew first name.
Yeah. So there you go. And it doesn't matter. Many are not going to like that neither.
If you're going to call him a Muslim, you have to take a look at
Muslim,
former Prime
it,
Minister Ehud Barak and say he must be Muslim too because of his name.
Yeah.
Because of his last name. That's obviously a Muslim name.
Yeah. Yep.
But these are like, and I looked at these two people and I said, "Thank you for putting my life in danger as an American." They seriously would fight for Israel before they would fight for the United States.
Right.
And that plays into the hands, when the IRA was active and there was a large cadre of Irish Americans that supported the IRA, I never once heard them being accused of dual loyalty. Never once. Not even when Representative King, I believe it is, who was actively fundraising for the IRA. No, he was. These the people who are actively raising money for terrorism, giving material support to terrorism, were never pursued and tried. I guess it's because they were, quote unquote, they were wiped by the grace of the United States government and Catholic or Christian. I guess that's the big difference. And I had it all open, and one of these people wasn't even aware that the reason the right wing Christians are so supportive of Israel is because they want us all over there so Jesus can come and either convert us or murder us. She didn't know that. Yeah. She did not know. She did not know that was the agenda of American right wing Christians.
Right wing, yeah.
Because Jesus cannot come till we are all gathered, till all of us Jews are back in Israel. Those,
So yeah, we got to prop up Israel, I guess. Yeah.
No, we're not actually. That is such a misnomer because we also prop up Egypt. We actually give more aid to Egypt than we give to Israel. The only time I hear people who are pro-Palestinian, scream about, war crimes is not when Egypt is blowing up tunnels in the desert or, closing off the border between Gaza and Egypt, but when Israel is doing something. People don't understand, they don't understand that terror is not about blowing people up. That's part of it. But people who live in the inner cities where there's high crime, they are terrorized because they are under psychological terror every time they step out of their house as to whether or not they are going to come home alive, end up in the hospital, be robbed, or whatever, by gunfire, by gang violence. Are there kids? African Americans are terrorized daily because any little thing can get them killed simply because of their skin color. That is terrorism.
Right.
You know, we only
Yeah,
look
they
at
look the wrong
terrorism
way.
by bodies by bodies lying in the street because we have the privilege of the oligarchs beginning, you know, in the late 18th, early 19th century, deciding those of us who were not landowners and therefore did not have the right to vote were white, in order to place a buffer between those who at the time who could vote and blacks. And white, those of us who are white by the grace of the United States government have been used as a buffer ever since. Because the minute indentured servants were declared, and um, farmers, and you know, people who rented their lands, who you know, were tradesmen but didn't own property, the minute they were declared white, they immediately rose in status. That's why white people get so offended when they see black humor, because it's what is funny is always punching up. And African Americans and Latinos and Asians punch up at white people because we have higher status than them, simply by the grace of the United States government.
Pretty much. Pretty much the way it's always been since
Yes,
Plymouth
and
Rock,
and we
essentially.
and
So
we
yeah.
punch, and lower middle class white people punch up by going after the wealthy. That is why Johnny. That is why, you know, your left wing progressive comedians are funnier than your regressive right wing comedians, because they're always punching up. And that is the way of comedy, all the way from the time of Aristophanes all the way up. What is funny is pulling the pants down on the landlord, you know, the
Oh
rich
yeah.
man,
Yeah. Anytime you
the
can do that.
religious
Yeah.
hypocrite.
All that stuff. Yeah.
You know, and so frankly, I am glad to be punched at, because it you know, simply because I am white by the grace of the United States government. And I can almost guarantee that if I were to have a T-shirt made or some stuff made that had that on it at Zazzle, somebody there would be offended by it, because I tried to make a postage stamp that said I love my political opinions and religious beliefs, and it got rejected.
Yeah.
But yet they approved people who put crosses on stamps. Imagine that.
Yeah. It's the same old, same old. It's been the same way
So
for, I don't know, 100 years.
anyway, I'm going to keep blithering on,
Yeah.
because I'm just
Do
going
it.
to be blithering
Your rant
on.
is
I
good.
had the great pleasure of talking with a fellow by the name of Scott Klatt, whom you can follow on Twitter. It's at Scott Klatt, Klatt, and you can also follow his hashtag Bundy Court Sketches, because he's been going. He lives in Portland, and he's been going to the Bundy trial and doing these absolutely hilarious um, childlike courtroom cartoons of what goes on in the court, and they're perfectly hilarious. Facebook page, and we spent an hour. And my apologies to Justice for that, for having a really long. I think it was like an hour and 10 minutes. We went, and I still cut stuff out. It was actually an hour and 15 minutes, and I was able to um, cut out 5 minutes of it, because if I had cut out anything else, a lot of it wouldn't have made sense, even though it rambled around through fundamental Mormonism and mythology, and sovereign citizenship and cults and all of that stuff, because it all ties in to what's going on in with that, all tied in with the Malheur occupation. And he talked about how he went to Burns, and he wanted to actually talk to Eamon Bundy and, you know, be part of the press corps, and how, and just a great conversation. He's a great guy. Um, and we talked about the the cult like status of sovereign citizens, and the fact that part of the area that part of that area of Oregon is part of this Mormon kingdom called Deseret, which stretches all the way down to the border, and it encompasses all of Nevada, part of California, New Mexico, but just goes straight down, and it's the Mormon. It's kind of like what Daesh is doing in the Middle East. The area that they have taken in Islamic end time prophecies is where the final battle between good and evil is supposed to take place. However, they misread it because it's the evil guys that control that part of the land. And that's why the final battle takes place, because but they don't know that because, like most fundamentalists, they interpret scripture the way they want to interpret it. So, you can listen to that podcast, ladies and gentlemen, at netreachradio.com. You can download it from iTunes. I don't know how much Justice edited out because I told him to go ahead and just got it off when Katie's show, Katie Speaks, came on, so not to delay her show. But
Right.
the full length is up on Spreaker.com, and my
Yeah.
apologies, Justice, but it was such a good conversation. It really was. I'm going to have him back. I'm going to see about having him on regularly through the Bundy Bunch trials.
Yeah.
He thinks it's a Broadway show. I see it more like Gilbert and Sullivan because it's such a large group of people that are involved in this, and there's a whole bunch of Western GOP office holders that are involved in all of this. So basically, you got a bunch of seditionists in government, in state government, and at least one of them, Michelle Fior, who is she's sovereign citizen. She doesn't believe in federal law, blah 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 blah. She hates, doesn't,
Right.
but she's running for the Senate for the Senate seat there.
Heck yeah. Why not?
Because like Marco Rubio, who's retiring from politics when his term is up, he got his pension and his free health care for the rest of his life. He doesn't need that job anymore.
Right. Right.
He showed up long enough to his fucking job there to get vested. Because they sure as hell didn't kick his ass off for being a no-show.
Right. Right.
Now here in
Yeah.
New York,
All you need to do is serve out your term. You don't really
Yeah.
have to actually vote on anything.
you just have to you serve out your term,
Yeah.
and you get half of your salary for half of your salary for
Something
the
like
rest
that.
of your life,
Yeah.
and you get
Healthcare. of
government
course.
taxpayer subsidized health care. Yet taxpayers are upset about having to pay health care for people who really need it, who can't afford it.
Right.
But they don't mind paying for these jackasses who don't show up for work, who impede I'm just sort of wondering if the intransigent Republicans in the Senate could actually be charged with domestic terrorism under the Patriot Act, because they are deliberately impeding government business. Because under the Patriot Act, Section 208 or 802, sending one too many faxes to your representative can constitute domestic terrorism if he says it's interfering
Right.
with my doing business. It's sort of, but not quite like California's special circumstances law, which applies if in the commission of a crime you kill a firefighter, a first responder, firefighter, cop, EMT in the to keep them, or to keep them from doing their job, or a government, city, state, local government official the prosecutor can charge you with special circumstances, which, if found guilty, is an automatic death sentence, which of course then gets appealed, and you live out your life on death row, and you die of natural causes, which becomes far less cheaper, less expensive, even with all the appeals.
Yeah.
So,
But Marco's in a good spot. He's got his, like I say, got his pension. Now he can move on to, I don't
yeah,
know,
and
probably
also
get involved in
his
lobbying.
kid is having problems because daddy's not around. So that
Yeah.
was in a tweet. So I tweeted at him, and the person retweeted. He needs to listen to the Jim Croce song "The Cat's in the Cradle,"
There you go.
about a man who was never there for his child, and then when he got older, and his kid grew up, the kid was never there for dad.
Right.
Goes around, comes around, Marco.
Yeah, pretty much. No question.
You know, so life, it's been an interesting day.
Yeah, it's the weekend moving along here.
Yeah.
Mostly uneventful, but and of course the weather here is kind of so. So it's
I mean, it was actually really nice here today.
good, good.
I showed up to work wearing a coat, went out to lunch and didn't need it. Really didn't need it when I, showed up, went to, but I had it with me just in case. And it got really stupid hot downstairs. I work for a big box department store, not Walmart or and
Yeah.
They're in the midst of moving stuff around. So you've got great swaths of laptop computer displays with nothing on them.
Right.
And then the company I represent, they were like out of stock on 5 or 6 items.
Yeah.
Went out of stock when I sold two different things today. Sold the last ones that were in stock. So, it was like, yeah, it's a good day, but don't ask for that high-end laptop, folks, because it's not in stock. I'll have to send you somewhere else.
Exactly.
It's like, oh, it's great. It's great. Only saw, and then I had I hallucinated a dog. Dog. New York City is extremely dog friendly. You can bring them, into businesses and the like, and that's one of the things I really like about this particular Best Buy that I'm in is the neighborhood dogs, because there's a Petco right next door. So people bring their dogs in, and it's sort of, when they're going shopping, and sometimes they just go in so we can say hi to the dogs. But I actually thought I saw a spaniel, and when I went to go look for it so I could say hello, I couldn't find the dog. So I think I actually hallucinated the dog and its owner today.
Could be.
Could be frightening.
Yes. Could have been one of those moments of, where you're.
But I hadn't taken anything that would have caused me to hallucinate.
Okay.
Dudes, if anybody, I wish.
Yeah.
I so wish. I really do. And weed, caffeine. Caffeine doesn't cause me to hallucinate. So there's that.
Right.
So, how was all that stuff going up there with you with work and the political machinations of upstate New York?
Yeah, just it's kind of depressing this last few days with the cold weather coming in. It was just starting to hit our stride, hitting up around 45, 50. And all of a sudden, the temperature took a nosedive, and now we're in the teens.
It happens.
Back around 15, 19.
It happens.
Degrees. Yeah, so it kind of takes, I just, screw it. I don't know if I want to go anywhere today or not. Able to just stay home, so blah, 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 blah. Ran the dishwasher for the first time today, so.
Woohoo!
Yeah,
I'm impressed.
I just hand wash dishes, but it's quicker. You only got like 5 or 6, 7, 8 dishes in there. But I said, man, Dad's been in the hospital for a few days, and I had a sink full of dishes. And I said, "Man, let me see if I can figure out that dishwasher." I
It's not that
never ran
difficult.
it.
You rinse the
So,
dish. You don't let
yeah,
the food dry on the dishes before you
yeah,
put them in the
just rinse them
dishwasher
off.
and run
Yeah,
it. You just
that's all.
put them in the dishwasher. You use the detergent, and then you just turn it on.
Yeah,
You don't
pretty
let the
much.
food dry on the. If you don't let the food dry on the dishware or
Yeah,
like the pots and stuff,
otherwise you're
um,
toast.
then you
Yeah,
have to like basically wash the dishes before you put them in the dishwasher to be washed.
yeah, yeah. Scrape them off with some sort of a file or something,
Yeah.
and yeah. But no, it was all good. I just rinsed them off, put them in there, hit the button, and bingo. I said, "Wow, this isn't as hard as I thought." So, yeah, so we did that today. It's a major accomplishment to
Yeah.
get dishwasher to work. But
Oh,
yeah, like I say, most of it just takes me 2 minutes to wash the dishes.
we did not do this at the top of the show, but you're listening to the Roundhouse Power Hour on netrootsradio.com. And if you're, we do have a chat room,
Yes, yes, yes,
but you can find by scrolling down to the bottom of our homepage and clicking the link to our chat room
yes,
because Ricky's in the chat and she's lonely, and I'm going there now just
yeah,
because I think I can. Doesn't mean I can actually do that. But when you are on the homepage, you can also click on the link to the other site to to the Patreon for netrootsradio.com and become a Patreon
yes,
because
yes,
your
yes.
$1 or $2 a month actually
Yeah,
helps
that's
us
all it is,
pay
really.
pay the good folks at Unity Networks on the San
Yes,
Carlos Apache Res for keeping us streaming.
keeping us on the air here. So yeah,
Yeah, they're the ones
yeah,
who
a
get
buck
our
a month, two
hard-earned
bucks a month.
bucks,
That'll do it, really. And
and
basically the cost of a cup of coffee.
yeah, um, and for Charles out on the who's our brilliant IT guy, along with the brilliant sunscreen
Yeah,
in London, and then we've got Yuri who and Fripp, not
yeah.
that one, or the other one,
Toronto,
up in Connecticut,
Toronto. So
Canada.
they're all
So
scattered all over
we're
the damn place.
scattered.
Yes.
Yeah, we are scattered all over the world. We're
Yeah. So
coming from
yeah,
all over
but it
the
works out. Somehow it works
world.
out.
I mean, Wink,
Everybody
you're
keeps
not
us
even
on.
in the chat room tonight.
No, I got to get the computer set up and blah 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 blah. I just
See,
haven't
we're
got
just
around
a
to that yet.
mess. We're just a mess. I'm in the chat, but
We
I'm
are.
like so
That's
attention
right.
deficit that if I start talking, there will be
Yeah.
many moments of dead air.
My yeah, I got to get my iPad. Let me see if I can get this thing up. My iPad hasn't worked lately, so I'll see if I can do that. I don't think I will, but maybe might get lucky.
Clunk.
Possibly. I don't know.
I mean, you can't hear this
Where's my?
over on Netroots Radio, but
Yeah. Oh, there you go. Right.
is it even?
No, I can't. Okay, so
Oh, okay. Reason I can't hear is that
eventually I'll get it.
I actually have to keep the output knob down because if I do, then we get this really weird echo, which you can hear right now.
Yeah,
Gives you that room reverb.
technical challenges all over the freaking
Always, but
place.
that's what makes real live radio fun.
It does, I guess. Yeah.
Oh yes, and you can call us at 417-717-1454 and join the Blitherfest. Or you can also Skype us at netroots.radio.
Yeah, if you got a topic of discussion, just
Any
chime
topic,
in.
within reason. Trump is talked out, so no Trump.
SCOTUS nominee, I guess that's still up in the air. I don't know what the hell's going to happen
Well,
with that.
well, you do actually. There are some Republicans that are like going to meet, so it looks like there are cracks in the
party
in the pouty thing. It's sort of like the thing is as everybody knows, is that since the president was first elected, there has been a faction within the GOP Senate that has decided that the election didn't count.
Right. He never did get elected.
And I think they are beginning to realize in the Senate that they'd much rather have an Obama nominee going to the Supreme Court than the possibility of a Trump appointee going to the Supreme Court.
Yeah,
because
that's
because at
possible.
least at least um, oh, they will litmus test him because they're always
Yeah,
going to litmus test,
yeah.
and they got, and this guy is a moderate, even though some people don't like him on the left, but the conspiracy theorists are pointing out the fact that Garland is Jewish, and that he led the investigate, and he's all full of all sorts of bullshit cover-ups from uh, where is it? This is what I like about Flipboard. Let me go to the conspiracy theory. Even though a lot of it's, but that it's just, yeah, go away. So the cover story is, one of the cover stories is, Obama's, um, choice of a nominee is like throwing a monkey wrench basically into the,
Well, he's essentially a moderate, uh,
yeah.
you know, center left kind of a guy rather than center right, and Republicans aren't going to like that. But hey, and when that's what the presidency is all about. Essentially, is having these powers to appoint these individuals. So, if you don't like the appointee, get elected president. I guess is your the answer to that, and then you can appoint your own. Yada yada. But you got to give the president that's in office the opportunity to do just that. They won't. They won't, though. I mean, there's no question that they won't. But whether you like the person in office or not, that's part of the perks and/or powers of the office is the lone ability to appoint the Supreme Court justice. So there you go. And it'll be fun. It'll be fun to see how the Republicans react to that.
Oh,
I think.
and by the way, there is a new code word for Jews, and it's banksters.
Ah,
By
okay.
the way,
Ah, there you go.
over here.
Ah,
I'm trying to find it. Jesus, what are you?
yeah. Um, yeah, I use banksters all the time, but it's not for that. I
Well,
just
I
it's
understand that,
you know,
but when it's used on the right, but there's some people
yeah,
that use it as a
pejorative.
new
Yeah,
code.
yeah. Well, I don't know. I guess you can't. Well, there's nothing you do in the right wing. The right wing is the right wing, and not my. You can't cure that. There's no curing that. It's a problem. So
Well, the
what you
thing
need to
is
do is keep
about
feeding
people
them.
with extreme beliefs is that you can just, even by presenting them with facts, actually drives them deeper into that belief.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
it's
You just
very
can't
hard to
cure it.
deprogram some people, as it
Right.
were.
No curing the right wing. There's no question. So just beat them at the polls. That's all you can do. Beat them at the voting booth. And we haven't done that lately, so it's really something we need to do. Down ballot wise, no question. So we'll be on that. I'll be out there. Once this weather breaks, if it ever does. So it's at least in the upper 40s. I can live with the upper 40s. I can no problem at all. But then I can get out there and do some retail politics, I guess.
Oh, here it is. I'm not even go- it's, I'm not even going to give you the name of the site, but it's a conspiracy. Um, it's a conspiracy site, and you know, um, Obama's latest Supreme Court nominee Merrick Garland got his big legal start prosecuting the Oklahoma City bombing case, which people say was a false flag. And he reports in 1993, Garland joined the new Clinton administration. Right there's the flag. As Deputy Assistant Attorney General in the Criminal Division for the U.S. Department of DOJ. Um, Garland was soon put to the test. He supervised the investigation of into the Unabomber and the Oklahoma City and the Atlanta Olympics bombings. That means he's part of the conspiracy of these all being Clinton false flags. but the guy makes it blatantly clear, perfectly clear that the biggest thing about um, Judge Garland is the fact he's Jewish.
Right. That's the big drawback.
Now that's
Yeah.
the whole. That proves that Jews run shit.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So they're not going to, approve that nomination by any chance, just because of the fact that he's Jewish. Uh,
But like I said, that's the
in the 21st century.
but no, but you still have to understand that we Jews are still the problem in the world. You can't get rid of us because if you get rid of us now, Jesus can't come back. So you got
Right.
to wait for Jesus for us to go get gathered into one spot,
Right.
so
Then.
Jesus can come back, and then you can do what Daesh is currently doing, which is saying convert or die.
Yeah. Get out your AK-47s and start blasting away.
Yeah.
Because nobody's going to convert, I don't believe. But yeah, it should be fun. Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting to say the least. You know how this plays out, and like I say, you can't cure that. There's no way in hell you can cure that. So you just got to beat it at the polls. Just got to win at the election booth.
Yeah, and they're calling the Oklahoma City the bombing of the Murrah building a false flag and FBI false. The FBI
Yeah,
CIA did
yeah,
it,
right,
which also makes them right wingers and neo fascists.
right, right.
See, let's see this site. They're for an extreme right wing site that's actually put together pretty well because it's not blinding and it's early 1990s. God,
Right
people,
style.
if you were not on the internet when the World Wide Web first started, you were so fucking lucky. Websites were perfectly horrible in their design and color coordination. But the various subpages, subdomains he's got is Zionism, 9/11 Inside Job, a new section on Catholicism, Freemasonry, vaccines equal poison, radio, filming cops, red light cameras, fighting traffic tickets, eugenics equals murder. So
Yeah, yeah.
Let's go to the about too. I love this. He's Catholic, civil rights advocate and promoter of liberty, but you're an anti-Semite and then let's just nothing. So let's see. Well, he's this person's work has been on whatreallyhappened.com, Infowars, Prison Planet, I Am the Witness, Lou Rockwell, Freedom Phoenix. I mean, rents all right wing / conspiracy sites. I wouldn't be so proud about being featured on TMZ.
Maybe. Yeah,
Their
maybe.
World Nut Daily, Black Box Voting. Um, let's see. I've got all sorts of other nonsense here. So
Yeah, great site. To check out. Yada yada. But
and
conspiracy,
I think there's a
conspiracy city.
fake founding father quote here, which I mean, let me go check this out. Oop. I'm gonna go see if this tranny and oppression.
Yeah, I guess there's some of that going on.
Well, apparently. Well, what do you know? He actually got it correct. Let me see if that's like a real quote.
Yeah, there was some sort of an article today on that trans, you know, LGBT crowd and the trans.
Okay, and this one website they asked if it was a real yeah, it's been attributed. That quote has been attributed to Madison, but actually, it sounds like somebody reworked the when fashion comes to America, it will come wrapped in the flag and waving a cross.
Yeah,
You know, and Madison allegedly said, if tyranny and oppression come to this land, it will be in the guise of fighting a foreign enemy, which really
well,
does
I mean
sound
that's
like it's
been, you know,
it's a reworking of the earlier phrase.
well, we're currently doing that, so I mean, that's part of it, I guess. I mean, half of it's done as far as fighting the foreign ISIS or Daesh or whatever the hell you want to call it. But it's could say, I guess, that that's just a ruse to continue the march towards owning and operating the country without without benefit of a federal government or any kind of government, really.
So apparently, nobody can find the author who researched all through the Federalist Papers and Madison's papers in the Library of Congress could not find that quote. So
Ah,
odds are he never said that.
right.
Somebody took something else that he said and decided to turn it into something else,
That could
which
be.
in this particular article has in boldface. The means of defense against foreign danger have been always the instrument of tyranny at home, because you're not allowed to criticize.
Yep.
The closest we came to oppression and tyranny in this country recently was when Bush 43 went into Iraq, and anybody who opposed that were shouted down and shut up like the Dixie Chicks.
Right. Right.
You could not criticize you could not criticize the decider.
Right. Exactly right. Yep.
See,
And
yeah,
that was set up pretty quickly too. I
yeah.
mean, that was
Oh, and I know I said I didn't want to talk about Trump anymore, but the reason you have never heard anything negative about Donald Trump is because of he makes you sign, if you work for him, he makes you sign not just a non-disclosure but a non-compete, which means you cannot even once you leave his employ, you are forbidden to speak ill of him,
right.
which
Right.
is why his first wife quickly backtracked on the book claim that um, that she was a victim of marital rape.
Yeah. Okay.
Because in the divorce settlement, it was like, shut the fuck up or you lose everything. You
Yeah.
can't say, don't say anything. You can't, no. That's why nobody's ever, so he's not a good guy.
Right.
In fact,
Right.
one of his former employees said, fuck this, and actually said he's a shithead.
Yeah.
People have worked for him. He's, I would presume that despite that NDA / non-compete, which probably would never hold up in court because it's never gone to court, which is why it's probably never gone to court. He probably has an extremely high turnover rate in his businesses.
Yeah. Could be. I just don't see the guy getting very far out of the blocks. Whoever he runs against is the Democratic nominee. But holy cow!
Yeah.
You never know. I mean, he could finagle some stuff maybe and make a case for himself.
Well, there are people that are saying all the the protests and everything are and it's really Clinton false flagging, Clinton dirty tricks, to blame it
Yeah. Yeah.
on
Blame it on Hillary.
yeah.
The Clinton machine.
Blame it on all the stuff going on with the protests. It's all Hillary Clinton dirty tricks to smear Bernie Sanders.
Yeah. It's like I say, all's fair in politics. I mean,
Well, and
it's up to you to defend
apparently, I
yourself.
didn't see the interview that Bernie Sanders walked out on, but apparently you're supposed to sit there and take it if your if a family member is being abused by somebody with bizarre ass questions. He was very upset with Joe Arpaio, who is possibly facing criminal contempt charges, not
Yeah.
just civil contempt, but criminal contempt. Um, Ambushing his wife while she was out at the the, the prison tent city.
Right.
Because
Yeah,
he
that
saw
would
it
be a
as
shame.
another, because he
Got
saw it, even
charged
though
with
he
that.
is a Trump supporter, he saw it as another opportunity to get his face in the news.
Yeah. Yep. Arpaio probably should be behind bars. There's no question.
Well, it's sort of like, how can the people of Maricopa County, continue to elect a man who, A, does not do his job, who still thinks he's part of the Department of Justice or the FBI or whatever he was working with,
Yeah,
and
whatever
thinks
federal.
he's an arm of the of INS. He doesn't combat the sheriff's department, from what I've been able to gather, in Maricopa County. Spends more time playing, the local arm of the immigration than actually investigating crime within Maricopa County. That is why there were several hundred sexual assaults that were never investigated, because he was too busy looking for people with funny sounding names, accents, and no papers,
Right.
or with papers, because in the
Yeah.
house of one of his deputies during the contempt trial, civil contempt trial, Melendres trial, it was discovered that a couple of thousand identification cards were in a box marked for destruction, and these were IDs from Mexican, Latin and Hispanic Americans, with no proof that they were forged or whatever.
Yeah.
There were other, another deputy who committed suicide. They found all sorts of shit in his house, on his property, that he should not have had, because it was like, confiscated stuff. So apparently they were like making money off of the. I would not be at all surprised for it sometime somebody within the community to come forward and say they were paying protection. Because
Yeah.
the immigration sweeps that Arpaio had been conducting were totally illegal. They were not part of his job description. And the Maricopa County Sheriff's Department is so corrupt that when there is a new sheriff elected, he's going to have to fucking fire everybody, because they are so corrupt they cannot be trusted. Arpaio gleefully throws people under the bus, and they still support him. He's thrown several of his people under the bus during the course of the civil trial against
Yeah, I don't get it. A lot of people still do support him. Yeah.
Because it's sort of like because he's their bread and butter.
Yeah. Yep.
And he threw a number of his people under the bus during his testimony.
Yep.
And so it's
well, it'd be nice just to see him spend 20 years behind bars or something. But yeah, couldn't happen to a better fellow than Joe Arpaio. Yeah. Somehow he escapes all that nonsense. And
he won't, because there's a really good possibility that Judge Snow is going to refer criminal contempt charges over to a special prosecutor.
There you go.
Because
that might have a more
Arpaio has more than once not been completely forthcoming. I'm not going to say lied, but not completely forthcoming.
Right.
First he says he nothing goes on around there without his knowledge. Then he said, I don't know.
Right.
Make up your mind. You either knew you knew, or you didn't know. And when he says he doesn't know, like he made the claim that he didn't know if all of his people got the injunction uh, under Melendrez.
Right.
I got but then there was this willful, evidence appeared that it was like willful ignorance of the judge's orders. Then there's this whole interesting thing where this con artist, I mean, he conned the CIA and said, I have the software that can, find, hidden messages in Al Jazeera broadcasts.
How about that?
And they were using him as this gink as a confidential informant. And the guy concocted a slideshow wherein he runs, and this is typical of Arpaio. If you oppose Arpaio and you hold an elected office, he will come after you. He has gotten out of more things because he's had to have people, prosecutors and judges, recuse themselves.
Right.
Because he files a suit against them. So any further proceedings looks like retaliation. And he tried to do this to Judge Snow by claiming that, Snow is involved in this federal conspiracy to tap your phone lines and your banking and everything. And Arpaio's going, I don't know anything about it. Yet in evidence there is
right.
this slideshow, a PowerPoint thing, and Arpaio's name is on one of the slides.
Yeah. How about that?
And he's very happy. He's very content to have everybody else but him pay. He was fined something, and Snow said, no, it has to come out of your pocket. The county will not pay this. You cannot ask people for, you have to pay for this. Because he gets people to send him money, don't fundraise for him for his legal fees and shit like that. Meanwhile, Maricopa County is getting nailed for the lawyers having to pay for his lawyers and pay for the settlement of his lawsuits. Because settling lawsuits for the Maricopa Sheriff's Department is part of the cost of doing business and is figured into the Maricopa County budget. Just like settling with civilians over excessive force in New York City is figured into the police force's budget as the cost of doing business, the city budget as cost of doing business.
Right.
Large businesses figure in lawsuits, whether it's, discrimination lawsuits, sexual harassment suits, as a cost of doing business.
We got about 30 seconds.
Oh, yeah, and here
sadly.
And so I blithered the entire, and Ricky said she would call in, but her little laptop isn't powerful enough.
No problem. Back here, of course, next Saturday night. So, we'll do this again next Saturday. Got to get out of here. Been a blast. And
I blithered for that entire hour, too. Wow.
Yeah, loved it. It was great. And,
anyway, folks, see you next same bat time.
Yes.
Same bat channel.
We're out.
Yeah, we're out. Have a good night.